What's up guys? Today I got a long video for you. Now, I talk a lot about comic book related topics, and for this video I will be talking about actors who have played multiple comic roles. There have been so many movies, shows, and video games based on comic books, so of course there's a lot of actors that have been reused in these projects. Now, this ain't gonna be some top 10 video because I instead made a list of 220 actors. This also won't just be actors in live action stuff. I'm also going to include animation as well. And trust me, it's a pain listing all the roles voice actors play since they're in everything. Now, I won't just be talking about Marvel DC stuff too. There's a lot of other stuff, like there's The Boys, there's Invincible, there's even The Walking Dead, and a bunch of other stuff. I'm just telling you that I won't include an actor who has only played multiple versions of the same character. Like, for example, Hugh Jackman playing multiple variants of Wolverine in Deadpool and Wolverine doesn't count because he hasn't played any other comic character. But I will mention if they've played another version of the same character, if they've played other comic book characters. Before we start, I want to give a big shout out to the Comic Book Actors Wiki, which made doing this list much easier. But for some reason, they didn't have a lot of the voice actors on it, so I had to comb through IMDb pages for them. Anyways, let's get on to the list.
Number 1, Chris Evans. Probably one of the most famous ones on this list, as he's played Captain America in the MCU, Human Torch in Fantastic Four 2005, Rise of Silver Surfer, and Deadpool 3. He played Lucas Lee in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World and Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. He played Jake Jensen in The Losers, and Casey Jones in TMNT 2007. Number 2, Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds has played Deadpool in X-Men Origins and the Deadpool trilogy, Hal Jordan in Green Lantern 2011, Hannibal King in Blade Trinity, Nick Walker in R.I.P.D., the voice for Juggernaut in Deadpool 2, and was also Nicepool in Deadpool and Wolverine. Number 3, Mark Hamill. He voiced Joker in the DCAU, the Arkhamverse, and many more. He voiced Hobgoblin in Spider-Man the Animated Series 1994. He played the Trickster in The Flash 1990, Justice League Unlimited, CW's The Flash, Justice League Action, and Lego Justice League Attack of the Legion of Doom. He was the Spectre in Batman Brave and the Bold, Solomon Grundy in the DCAU, Ulysses Claw in Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, Tony Zuko in the Batman 2004, Arnim Zola in Ultimate Spider-Man, Avengers Assemble, and Marvel's Spider-Man 2017. He was Swamp Thing in Justice League Action, Maximus in Fantastic Four the Animated Series, and Art Rosenbaum in Invincible. Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage was Ghost Rider in Ghost Rider 2007 and Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance. He was Big Daddy in Kick-Ass, Spider-Man Noir in Into the Spider-Verse, and the upcoming show Spider Noir. He was Superman in Teen Titans Go to the Movies, The Flash 2023. Well, he was in the movie, but they replaced him with a CGI version of him, which is very weird. His role as Superman in those movies were a reference to the canceled Superman Lives movie where he was supposed to play Superman. And finally, he was Wily in Jujutsu 2020. Number 5, we have Tara Strong. She played Raven in Teen Titans and Teen Titans Go, Batgirl in the DCAU, The Killing Joke, and many more. Harley Quinn in the Arkhamverse games, except for Arkham Asylum, the Injustice games, and many more. Vicky Vale in The Batman vs. Dracula, Huntress in Batman the Brave and the Bold, Miss Minutes in Loki, Mainframe in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Alexa in Wonder Woman 2009, Buttermilk Sky in DC Showcase Catwoman, Cheetah in Super Best Friends Forever, Michelle in The Dark Knight Returns, Anchor Trish in The Dark Knight Returns, young Bruce Wayne in The Dark Knight Returns and Justice League Action, Kevin Ridley in The Dark Knight Returns, Elsie in The Dark Knight Returns, Billy Batson in DC Nation's Shazam, Miss Hatsiput in DC Nation's Shazam, Ember in Justice League Action, Lois Lane in Justice League Action, and voiced a bunch of video game characters. Number 6, we have Carl Urban, who I've actually met at Comic-Con, and he was very nice. He played Judge Dredd in Dredd 2012, Billy Butcher in The Boys, Scourge the Executioner in Thor Ragnarok, William Cooper in Red, Black Hat in Priest 2011, Sergeant Rock in DC's Showcase Sergeant Rock. Number 7, Jeffrey Dean Morgan. He played Negan in The Walking Dead and The Walking Dead Dead City, Conquest in Invincible, the comedian in Watchmen, Joe Kessler in The Boys, Thomas Wayne in Batman vs. Superman, Franklin Clay in The Losers, and Jeb Turnbull in Jonah Hex. At number 8, we have Josh Brolin. He was Thanos in the MCU, Cable in Deadpool 2, Jonah Hex in Jonah Hex, Young Agent K in Men in Black 3, and Dwight McCarthy in Sin City, A Dame to Kill For. Number 9 is Idris Elba. He was Heimdall in the MCU, Bloodsport in The Suicide Squad, Morrow in Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance, and William Roque in The Losers. At number 10, we have Mark Strong. He was Sinestro in Green Lantern 2011, Dr. Savannah in Shazam, Frank D'Amico in Kick-Ass, Carmine Falcone in The Penguin, and Agent Merlin in Kingsman: The Secret Service and Kingsman: The Golden Circle. At number 11, we have Michael Keaton, who is Batman in Batman 89, Batman Returns, The Flash 2023, and the unreleased Batgirl film, which was already filmed but was canceled due to a tax write-off. And he played Vulture in Spider-Man Homecoming and Morbius. At number 12, we have his co-star Michelle Pfeiffer, who was Catwoman in Batman Returns, and Janet Van Dyne in the MCU. At number 13, we have another Catwoman actress, Halle Berry, who was Storm in the X-Men movies, Catwoman in Catwoman 2004, and Ginger Ale in Kingsman: The Golden Circle. At number 14, we have Ben Affleck, who was Batman in the DCEU, and Daredevil in Daredevil 2003, and a deleted scene from Elektra 2005. It is insane how he played both of these legendary superheroes who he was excited to play, and they both ended up being trash. But then after that, he was replaced by some younger British actor, and they were both better than him. I guess DC needed to go through Ben Affleck to get Robert Pattinson, and Marvel needed to go through Ben Affleck to get Charlie Cox. Next, at number 15, is another Batman actor, Christian Bale. He was Batman in the Dark Knight trilogy and Gore the God Butcher in Thor: Love and Thunder. At number 16, we have Michael B. Jordan, who was Killmonger in Black Panther, Human Torch in Fantastic Four 2015, and the voice of Cyborg in Justice League: The Flashpoint Paradox. I bet you didn't know that was his voice in that movie. It is kind of funny how the two Human Torch actors ended up just playing characters in the MCU. Next, at number 17, is Colin Farrell. He played Bullseye in Daredevil 2003 and Penguin in The Batman and the Penguin. At number 18, we have Zoe Kravitz, who was Catwoman in The Batman, but before she was Catwoman in The Batman, she was also Catwoman in the Lego Batman movie. She was Angel Salvador in X-Men First Class and Mary Jane Watson in Into the Spider-Verse. Number 19, we have Haley Steinfeld, who was Spider-Gwen in the Spider-Verse movies, Kate Bishop in Hawkeye, and Kate Barrow in Term Life. At number 20, we have an actor who's been in a lot of things, Nathan Fillion. He was Hal Jordan in Green Lantern Emerald Knights, Justice League Doom, Justice League The Flashpoint Paradox, and in the DC AMU, except for Justice League War. He voiced a monstrous inmate in Guardians of the Galaxy. He was TDK in the Suicide Squad. He was Karja in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. He's going to be playing Guy Gardner in the upcoming Superman 2025 and Peacemaker Season 2. He voiced Headpool in Deadpool and Wolverine. He played Wonder Man in MODOK and a deleted scene from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. He voiced Greg Saunders, aka the Vigilante in Justice League Unlimited, and Steve Trevor in Wonder Woman 2009. Number 21, we got another friend of James Gunn, Michael Rooker, who played Yondu in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, Merle Dixon in The Walking Dead, Savant in The Suicide Squad, Red Doc in DC Showcase Jonah Hex, Sam Fitzgibbon in Creature Commandos, and Red Saint Wild in the upcoming Peacemaker Season 2. Yeah, he's mostly in a lot of James Gunn stuff since they're friends, and he tends to die in like every single James Gunn movie. In Peacemaker Season 2, he's definitely gonna die in that. At number 22, we have Sean Gunn, the brother of James Gunn. He played Kraglin in the MCU. He was the on-set version of Rocket Raccoon in the MCU and the voice of young Rocket in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. He was Weasel in the Suicide Squad and Creature Commandos, Calendar Man in the Suicide Squad, G.I. Robot in Creature Commandos, Polanski Guard 2 in Creature Commandos, and Maxwell Lord in the upcoming Superman 2025 and Peacemaker Season 2. People criticize James Gunn for hiring his brother in so many of his things. I don't get this complaint because his brother is a good actor. He does play a lot of characters in James Gunn's movies, like he plays multiple characters, but come on, could you really tell that that was him as Weasel or him as Rocket? No, you couldn't, so shut the fuck up and stop complaining. Number 23, we have Linda Cardellini, who played Laura Barton in the MCU, Lila in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and Elizabeth Bates in Creature Commandos. At number 24, we have Isabella Merced, who is Anya Corazon in Madam Web, and will be playing Hawkgirl in the upcoming Superman 2025 and Peacemaker Season 2. It's such an upgrade going from Madam Web to Superman in just 1 year, so good for her. At 25, we have Nicholas Hoult, who was Beast in the X-Men movies and will be Lex Luthor in the upcoming Superman 2025. 26, we have Giancarlo Esposito, yes, Gus Fring, who was Sidewinder in Captain America Brave New World, Stan Edgar in The Boys, Baxter Stockman in TMNT Mutant Mayhem, Ra's al Ghul in Son of Batman, Black Spider in Batman Assault on Arkham, Lex Luthor in Harley Quinn, and Granite in Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. At 27, we have Pedro Pascal. He was Eden Delicato in the Wonder Woman 2011 pilot. He was Maxwell Lord in Wonder Woman 1984. He will be Mr. Fantastic in the upcoming Fantastic Four First Steps. He was Agent Whiskey in Kingsman The Golden Circle and Special Agent Ortega in The Sixth Gun 2013. It is crazy that he has been in 2 Wonder Woman projects as 2 different characters. James Gunn could do the funniest thing by casting him as a character in the DCU's Wonder Woman movie. At 28, we have Frank Grillo, who was Crossbones in the MCU, Rick Flag Sr. in Creature Commandos, the upcoming Superman 2025, and Peacemaker Season 2. He was Harrigan in Jujutsu 2020 and Agent Faraday in Justice League Warworld. Number 29, we have Eddie Gathegi, who was Darwin in X-Men First Class and Mr. Terrific in the upcoming Superman 2025. At number 30, we have Michaela Hoover, who's another James Gunn friend. She was a Nova Prime assistant in Guardians of the Galaxy, Camilla in the Suicide Squad. Okay, if you've seen that movie and you remember that scene she was in, I know what kind of man you are. She was Floor in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. She will be Cat Grant in the upcoming Superman 2025, and she was Esther in Lucifer. At 31, we have Pawn Clementif, who was Mantis in the MCU, and she was a dancer in La Gatita Mobley in The Suicide Squad. Number 32, we have David Dastmalchian, who is Polka Dot Man in The Suicide Squad, Thomas Schiff in The Dark Knight, Kurt in the first 2 Ant-Man movies, Dwight Pollard in Gotham, Calendar Man in both Batman The Long Halloween Parts 1 and Part 2, Abracadabra in The Flash, Bab in Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, Penguin in Batman The Long Halloween Part 2, Brendan in Batman The Doom That Came to Gotham, The Flash in Justice League X Ruby Part 2, and The Question in Batman Arkham Shadow. Number 33, Steven Yeun, who was in and Glenn Rhee in The Walking Dead. I also want to point out that he was originally cast as the Sentry in Thunderbolts, but he dropped out due to scheduling conflict and was replaced by Louis Pullman, but that doesn't count. At number 34, we have Zazie Beetz, who was Domino in Deadpool 2, the voice of Amber Bennett in Invincible, and Sophie Dumont in both of the Joker movies. At number 35, we have J.K. Simmons, who was J. Jonah Jameson in the Raimi Spider-Man trilogy, the MCU, and many more. He's the voice of Omni-Man in Invincible. He was James Gordon in Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League, and the unreleased Batgirl movie. He is the voice of Wade Ealing in Justice League Unlimited, Mantis in Justice League Unlimited, and White Knight in Generator Rex. At number 36, we have Erin Moriarty, who was Hope Schlottman in Jessica Jones, and Starlight in The Boys. Number 37, we have Theo Rossi, who plays Julian Rush in The Penguin, and was Shades in Luke Cage. At number 38, we have Clancy Brown. He is a voice actor, so he's been in a lot of these things. He played Lex Luthor in the DCAU, the Batman 2004, and many more. He was Surtur in Thor Ragnarok, Ray Schoonover in Netflix's Daredevil and The Punisher, Salvatore Moroni in The Penguin, Wade Ealing in CW's The Flash, Parallax in Green Lantern 2011, Sasquatch in The Incredible Hulk, the animated series, Red Hulk and the Agents of Smash, Ultimate Spider-Man and Avengers Assemble, Mr. Freeze in The Batman 2004, Bane in The Batman 2004, Mr. Sinister in Wolverine and the X-Men, Rhino in The Spectacular Spider-Man, George Stacy in The Spectacular Spider-Man, Ox in The Spectacular Spider-Man, Taskmaster in Captain America and Iron Man Heroes Unite, Ultimate Spider-Man and Avengers Assemble, Herr Degaton in Batman the Brave and the Bold, Rotull in Batman the Brave and the Bold, Odin in Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, King Faraday in Young Justice, General Zartok in Green Lantern the Animated Series, Uncle Ben in Ultimate Spider-Man, Phantom Rider in Ultimate Spider-Man, Negative Man in DC Nation's Shorts, Doom Patrol, General Immortus in DC Nation's Shorts, Doom Patrol, The Watcher in Hulk and the Agents of Smash and Avengers Assemble, Black Bolt in Hulk and the Agents of Smash, The Supreme Intelligence in Hulk and the Agents of Smash, Trident in Teen Titans 2003, Damien Darkblood in Invincible, General Krieg in Invincible, Richard Brinkerhoff in Gen V, Big Time in Batman Beyond, and Raymond in Spider-Man, the new animated series. Holy shit, that guy's in a lot of stuff. Number 39, we have Jensen Ackles, who was the voice of Batman in the DC Tomorrowverse, Red Hood in Batman Under the Red Hood, Soldier Boy in The Boys, and Jason Teague in Smallville. Number 40, we have Shore Agdashlu. She played Nadia Maroney in The Penguin, Farah Madani in Netflix's The Punisher, Gavito Rayo in X-Men The Last Stand, and Madame Gurov in Creature Commandos. And number 41, we have Henry Cavill, who was Superman in the DCEU, and he was the Calverine cameo in Deadpool and Wolverine. It was just Henry Cavill as Wolverine, and it was just Dick writing that fan cast, though I don't even think most people fan cast him as Wolverine, and that wouldn't really be a good fan cast because he's not that good of an actor. 42, we have Aaron Taylor Johnson, who was Kick-Ass in the Kick-Ass movies, Quicksilver in Avengers Age of Ultron, and Kraven in Kraven the Hunter. 43, we have Maria Bakalova, who was Cosmo the Space Dog in Guardians of the Galaxy, the Holiday Special, and Guardians 3, and Ilana Rostovic in Creature Commandos. Number 44, we have Isla Zurer, who was Laura Lorvan in Man of Steel, and Vanessa Fisk in Netflix's Daredevil and Daredevil Born Again. Number 45, we have David Harbour, who was Red Guardian in the MCU, Frankenstein in Creature Commandos, Hellboy in Hellboy 2019, and Dexter Tolliver in Suicide Squad. Number 46, we have Angela Bassett, who is Ramonda in the MCU, Amanda Waller in Green Lantern 2011, and Linda Lake in The Flash 1990. Number 47, we have Jack Quaid, who is Huey Campbell in The Boys, Superman in My Adventures with Superman, Earth 65 Peter Parker in Across the Spider-Verse, and Alberto Falcone in Batman The Long Halloween Part 1. Number 48, we have Russell Crowe, who was Jor-El in Man of Steel, Zeus in Thor Love and Thunder, and Nikolai Kravinoff in Kraven the Hunter. Damn, they really love getting him to play dads in these movies. Number 49, we have Michael Cera, who was Scott Pilgrim in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World and Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. He was Robin in the Lego Batman movie and Great Wide Wonder in The Boys Diabolical. At number 50, we have Chukwudi Iwuji, who was High Evolutionary in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and previously also worked with James Gunn playing Clemson Mern in Peacemaker. Number 51, we have Chris Pine, who's Steve Trevor in both Wonder Woman movies and Earth 1610 Spider-Man in Into the Spider-Verse. At number 52, we have Natalie Portman, who is Jane Foster in the MCU, and Evie Hammond in V for Vendetta. At number 53, we have Aubrey Plaza, who is Lady Death in Agatha All Along, Lenny Busker in Legion, and Julie Powers in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World and Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. Number 54, we have Jennifer Holland, who is James Gunn's wife. She played Amelia Harcourt in the DCEU and now the DCU, and was Quoll in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. At number 55, we have Digimon Hunso, who is Korath the Pursuer in the MCU, the Wizard Shazam in both Shazam movies and Black Adam, King Rico in Aquaman, the Martian Emperor in Invincible, Black Panther in the 2010 Black Panther motion comic, Papa Midnight in Constantine 2005, and Shola in The King's Man. Number 56, we have Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, who was Black Manta in both Aquaman movies, Dr. Manhattan in Watchmen 2019, and will be playing Wonder Man in the upcoming Wonder Man Disney Plus show. Number 57, we have Brie Larson, who is Captain Marvel in the MCU, and was Envy Adams in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World and Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. Number 58, we have Kevin Bacon, who was Sebastian Shaw in X-Men First Class, himself in the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, and Bobby Hayes in R.I.P.D. At number 59, we have Mahershala Ali, who was Cottonmouth in Luke Cage, the Prowler / Aaron Davis in Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse, Titan in Invincible, and he played Blade in a cameo in Eternals, and will play Blade in his own movie, which is to be decided. Granted, this movie was announced back in 2019. We still have no idea when this movie is gonna come out. It was announced for 2023. It kept getting pushed back. Now the date's unknown. Yeah, I don't know if this movie's coming out. Number 60, we have Tom Hardy, who is Venom in the Venom trilogy and No Way Home, and Bane in The Dark Knight Rises. How the fuck did Venom get a trilogy? At number 61, we have Willem Dafoe, who's Green Goblin in the Raimi Spider-Man trilogy, and Vulko in Aquaman and Zack Snyder's Justice League. Number 62, we have Megan Fox, who was April O'Neil in both Michael Bay produced TMNT movies, Layla in Jonah Hex, and Lois Lane in the 2012 Robot Chicken DC Comics special. At number 63, we have Lawrence Fishburne, who's the voice of Silver Surfer in Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer, played Perry White in Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman, was Bill Foster in Ant-Man and the Wasp, What If, and Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, the Beyonder in Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, and is the narrator of TMNT 2007. Number 64, we have Daniela Melchior, who was Ratcatcher 2 in The Suicide Squad, and Aura in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. 65, we have Karen Fukuhara, who is Kimiko in The Boys, and Katana in Suicide Squad. Number 66, we have Brandon Routh, who was Superman in Superman Returns Returns and the CW Crisis on Infinite Earths, The Atom in the Arrowverse, Todd Ingram in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World and Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, The Everywhere Man in the Batman 2004, and Dylan Dog in Dylan Dog Dead of Night. At number 67, we have famous cult leader Jared Leto, who was the Joker in Suicide Squad and Zack Snyder's Justice League, and Michael Morbius in Morbius. His two comic roles were completely memed, which is a reference to the fact that Jared Leto is a joke of a human being. Number 68, we have Jon Favreau, who was Happy Hogan in the MCU, Foggy Nelson in Daredevil 2003. He was the assistant in Batman Forever, and was a Jimmy Lincoln in Term Life. Number 69, we have Taika Waititi, who is Korg in the MCU, Tom Kalmaku in Green Lantern 2011, Ratcatcher in the Suicide Squad, Hadjo in Thor Ragnarok, and an old Cronin god in Thor Love and Thunder. Number 70, we have the legendary Keanu Reeves, who was John Constantine in Constantine 2005 and Batman in DC League of the Super Pets. Yes, that is a real movie. Number 71, we have Steve Agee, who was John Economos in the DCEU and now the DCU. He was the motion capture for King Shark in the Suicide Squad and was Geth in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Number 72, we have Chiwetel Ejiofor, who was Baron Mordo in both Doctor Strange movies, General Strickland in Venom: The Last Dance, and James Chopley in The Old Guard. Number 73, we have Angelina Jolie, who was Thena in Eternals and Fox in Wanted. Fun fact, the character Fox is actually black in the Wanted comics. Number 74, we have Jason Momoa, who is Aquaman in the DCU and will be playing Lobo in Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, which is very exciting. He's better fit for that role than he was for Aquaman, and he was also Conan in Conan the Barbarian 2011. Number 75, we have Rosaria Dawson, who is Claire Temple in all of the Marvel Netflix shows except for Punisher, Gale in both Sin City movies, Wonder Woman in the DCAMU, Laura Vasquez in Men in Black 2, Batgirl in the Lego Batman movie, Artemis in Wonder Woman 2009, Alma Ortega in DMZ, and Catwoman in Batman The Audio Adventures. Number 76, we have Mark Margolis, yes, Hector Salamanca. He was Eddie Fallon in Daredevil 2003, Felix Faust in Constantine 2015, and Paul Cicero in Gotham. Number 77, we have Jon Bernthal, who was Punisher in Netflix's Daredevil, Netflix's The Punisher, and Disney Plus's Daredevil Born Again, Shane Walsh in The Walking Dead, and he voiced Trigon in Justice League vs. Teen Titans. I bet you didn't know he did that. Number 78, we have Jim Carrey, who played the Riddler in Batman Forever, Stanley Ipkiss in The Mask. Yes, The Mask is based off a comic, and he was Colonel Stars and Stripes in Kick-Ass 2. Number 79, we have Lake Bell, who was Poison Ivy in Harley Quinn and Kite Man Hell Yeah, Black Widow in What If, Vanessa Fisk in Into the Spider-Verse, and Dr. Graham in Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Number 80, we have Sylvester Stallone, who was Judge Dredd in Judge Dredd 1995, King Shark in The Suicide Squad, and Stakar Ogard in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 and 3. Number 81, we have Zoe Saldana, who's Gamora in the MCU, Aisha Al-Fadil in The Losers, and Mrs. Mole in I Kill Giants. Number 82, we have Terrence Stamp, who played General Zod in Superman 2 and Stick in Elektra. Fun fact about Terrence Stamp, he was also in The Phantom Menace, which he said he enjoyed filming because he had a crush on 17-year-old actress Natalie Portman when he was an old man. What a fucking creep. At number 83, we have Tommy Lee Jones, who was Two-Face in Batman Forever, General Phillips in Captain America the First Avenger, and Agent K in the Men in Black trilogy. Number 84, we have Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who was Ramona Flowers in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World and Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, and Huntress in Birds of Prey. Number 85, we have Tim Blake Nelson, who is the leader in The Incredible Hulk and Captain America Brave New World, Harvey Allen in Fantastic Four 2015, and Looking Glass in Watchmen 2019. Number 86, we have Channing Tatum, who is Gambit in Deadpool and Wolverine, and will be in Avengers Doomsday. Superman in the Lego movie and the Lego Batman movie, and Tequila in Kingsman: The Golden Circle. Number 87, we have Ray Stevenson, who was Punisher in Punisher Warzone and the Superhero Squad. Pretty funny. Volstagg in the first 3 Thor movies, and Big Ray in Accident Man and Accident Man Hitman's Holiday. At number 88, we have Marina Baccarin, who was Vanessa Carlyle in the Deadpool trilogy, Black Canary in Justice League Unlimited, Leslie Tompkins in Gotham, Talia al Ghul in Son of Batman and Batman Bad Blood, Cheetah in Batman the Brave and the Bold, Edgar Mandragora in Justice League Unlimited, and Gideon in The Flash. Number 89, we have May Melancon, who was Psylocke in X-Men The Last Stand, and Masaka Yamashiro in Legends of Tomorrow. Number 90, we have Ron Perlman, who was Hellboy in Hellboy 1 and 2, Slade in Teen Titans 2003, Clayface in Batman the Animated Series, Hulk in the 90s Marvel Animated Universe, Dieter Reinhardt in Blade 2, Jax-Ur in Superman the Animated Series, Armagon in TMNT 2012, Sinestro in Green Lantern the Animated Series, Big Mike in Punisher Dirty Laundry, Dr. Double X in Brave and the Bold, Killer Croc in the Batman 2004, Batman in Justice League Heroes, Orion in the DCAU, and Heavy Man in Static Shock. Number 91, we have Gemma Chan, who was Minerva in Captain Marvel, and Cersei in Eternals. Number 92, we have Simu Liu, who is Shang-Chi in the MCU, and Multipole in Invincible. Number 93, we have Anthony Kerrigan, who will be playing Metamorpho in the upcoming Superman 2025, and Victor Zsasz in Gotham. Number 94, we have Olivia Munn, who is Psylocke in X-Men Apocalypse, Akiko Yokohama in Hitmonkey, Chess Roberts in Iron Man 2, and Evie in Tales of the Walking Dead. At number 5, we have Stephen Amell, who is Green Arrow in the CW Arrowverse, and Casey Jones in TMNT Out of the Shadows. Number 96, we have Will Arnett, who is Batman in both Lego movies and the Lego Batman movie, Slade in Teen Titans Go to the Movies, Fern Fenwick in both Michael Bay produced TMNT movies, Agent AA in Men in Black 3, and Lieutenant Grass in Jonah Hex. Number 97, we have Norman Reedus, who was Daryl Dixon in The Walking Dead and The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon, Scott in Blade 2, and the English dub for Punisher in Iron Man Rise of Technovore. Number 98, we have Tilda Swinton, who was the Ancient One in Doctor Strange, Gabriel in Constantine, and Ambrosius the Octopus in The Boys. Next we have Jamie Chung, who was Blink in The Gifted, Gogo Tamago in Big Hero 6, Harley Quinn in Batman the Caped Crusader, Amy Yoshida in X-Men Destiny, Valerie Vale in Gotham, Miho in Sin City: A Dame to Kill For, Death in DC Showcase Death, Jade in Batman Soul of the Dragon, and Black Canary in Justice League X Ruby Part 2. Number 100, we have Patton Oswalt, who was Eric, Billy, Sam, Thurston, and Ernest Coing in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., MODOK in Hulu's MODOK, Pip the Troll in Eternals, The Deep Skills in The Boys, Hedges in Blade Trinity, Eldon Michaels in Batman Beyond, Specs in Static Shock, Toymaker in The Batman 2004, Marty Slack in The Batman 2004, Space Cabbie in Justice League Action, The Atom in Teen Titans Go to the Movies, Matthew the Raven in The Sandman, Mr. Frank Sparkles in Big Hero 6 The Series, Uncle Ben in Marvel Spider-Man 2017, Chameleon in Marvel Spider-Man 2017, and Sakurang in Axe Cop. 101, we have Sean Ashmore, who was Iceman in the X-Men movies, Lamplighter in The Boys, and Eric Summers in Smallville. At 102, we have Mary Avgeropoulos, who was Jamie Hartloff in Human Target 2010, Silver Swan in Wonder Woman Bloodlines, and Mira in Jujutsu. At 103, we have The Rock, who was Black Adam in Black Adam and DC League of the Super Pets, and Crypto in DC League of the Super Pets. Remember when The Rock was trying to take over the DCEU and make Black Adam the main focus of everything and completely separate him from Shazam? And he was trying to get a Superman versus Black Adam movie to be a thing, even though Black Adam's the main villain of Shazam. They have the same costume, the same powers. Black Adam literally says Shazam to get his powers. What was he thinking? 104, we have Zolo Maradueno, who was Blue Beetle in Blue Beetle 2023, Henry, and both Dropkick and Fight Master in Invincible. At 105, we have Rachel Weisz, who is Melina Vostokov in Black Widow, and both Angela and Isabel Dodson in Constantine. At 106, we have Arnold Schwarzenegger, who was Mr. Freeze in Batman and Robin, Conan in Conan the Barbarian 1982, Conan the Destroyer 1984, and Red Sonja 1985, and he was himself in Tales from the Crypt. At 107, we have Seth Rogen, who is Alan the Alien in Invincible, himself in The Boys, Bebop in TMNT Mutant Mayhem, and a drug dealer in The Boys Diabolical. 108, we have the late and great Lance Reddick, who is Smith in Jonah Hex, Steven Erikson in Invincible Adam Eve, Hellboy in Hellboy Web of Weird, Lex Luthor in Kite Man Hell Yeah, Ramsey in Remains 2011, Falcon in Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, Ra's al Ghul in Beware the Batman, and Thomas Wayne in Batman Unburied. At 109, we have Eben Moss-Bachrach, who will be playing the Thing in the upcoming Fantastic Four First Steps, and played Microchip in Netflix's The Punisher. At 110, we have James Marsden, who was Cyclops in the X-Men movies, Richard White in Superman Returns, and Harold Quince in Two Guns. At number 111, we have Alan Tudyk, who was Mr. Nobody in Doom Patrol, Dr. Phosphorus in Creature Commandos, Joker in Harley Quinn, Clayface in Harley Quinn and Creature Commandos, Van Wayne in Powerless, Calendar Man in Harley Quinn, Firefly in Harley Quinn, Will Magnus in Creature Commandos, Condiment King in Harley Quinn, Green Arrow in Young Justice and the Injustice games, Superman Robot number 4 in the upcoming Superman 2025, Flash in Batman Brave and the Bold, Alfred in Batman the Audio Adventures, Superman in Justice League War, an Atlantean librarian in the Injustice games, Luke aka Redneck number 1 in Deadpool 2, and Arcade in MODOK. At number 112, we have Charlize Theron, who was Clea in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, Stormfront actor in The Boys, and Andy in The Old Guard. Number 113, we have James McAvoy, who was Charles Xavier in the X-Men movies, Wesley Gibson in Wanted, Dream in Sandman 2020, and Golden-Haired Man in The Sandman. Number 114, we have Colby Minifie, who was Ashley Baird in The Boys, Robin in Jessica Jones, and Virginia in Fear the Walking Dead. At number 115, we have Thomas Hayden Church, who was Sandman in Spider-Man 3 and Spider-Man No Way Home, Killer Moth in Teen Titans 2003, Lobster Johnson in Hellboy 2019, and Roach in Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight. At number 116, we have Jeffrey Wright, who was James Gordon in The Batman, The Watcher in What If, Destiny in The Sandman, and Batman in Batman The Audio Adventures. At number 117, we have the legendary John Cena, who is Peacemaker in The Suicide Squad and Peacemaker, Rocksteady in TMNT Mutant Mayhem, Hulk in Marvel Avengers Academy, Baron Draxum in Rise of the TMNT, and Hunter Kane in Generator Rex. Number 118, we have Lady Gaga, who was Harley Quinn in Joker 2, Bertha in Sin City, A Dame to Kill For, and an alien on the TV monitor in Men in Black 3. Number 119, we have Jonathan Banks, yes, kid named Finger, who was James Gordon in Arkham Knight, William in Tales from the Crypt, Silvermane in Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, Noonan in Kite Man Hell Yeah, Black Mask in Catwoman Hunted, Composite Superman in Robot Chicken DC Comics Special number 3, Book Cop in Axe Cop, Harper in Termlight, and Radio DJ in Axe Cop. Number 120, we have Michelle Yeoh, who is Aletta Ogard in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and Ying and Nan in Shang-Chi. Number 121, we have Kathryn Hahn, who was Olivia Octavius in both Spider-Verse movies, and Agatha Harkness in WandaVision and Agatha All Along. At 122, we have Alan Ritchson, who was Raphael in both Michael Bay-produced TMNT movies, Aquaman in Smallville and Justice League The New Frontier here, and Hawk in Titans. At number 123, we have John Krasinski, who was Mr. Fantastic in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, and Superman in DC League of the Super Pets. At 124, we have Bruce Willis, who is Hartigan in both Sin City movies, Frank Moses in both the Red movies, and Greer in Surrogates. Number 125, we have Joe Manganiello, who is Flash Thompson in Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 3, and was Deathstroke in Justice League and Zack Snyder's Justice League, where he was just there for one scene teasing a movie that was never gonna come out, and if it did come out, it would have probably been shit. He could have been good anyways, so too bad they wasted him. Number 126, we have Nicole Kidman, who was Chase Meridian in Batman Forever and Queen Atlanta in both Aquaman movies. At number 127, we have Oscar Isaac, who has played multiple Marvel characters. He was Spider-Man 2099 in the Spider-Verse movies. He played Moon Knight / Mark Spector / Stephen Grant / Jake Lockley in Moon Knight, and Apocalypse in X-Men Apocalypse. Oscar Isaac's a great actor. Like, he was great as Spider-Man 2099, and he was great in Moon Knight. Too bad the show sucked. And Apocalypse, that was such a random casting. I don't know why they casted him as Apocalypse. Anyways, moving on to number 128, we have Tom Welling, who was Clark Kent in Smallville and the CW's Crisis on Infinite Earths, Bizarro in Smallville, and Marcus Pierce in Lucifer. At number 129, we have Renzi Felice, who was Victor Aguilar in The Penguin, and Alex Wilder in Runaways. Number 130, we have Rebecca Romaine, who was Mystique in the original X-Men movies and will be returning in Avengers Doomsday, Joan in The Punisher 2004, and Lois Lane in the DCAMU. At number 131, we have Ryan Hurst, who was Beta in The Walking Dead, Lobo in Superman Man of Tomorrow, and Chupacabra in Axe Cop. At number 132, we have Terry Crews, who was Bedlam in Deadpool 2, Blade in Ultimate Spider-Man, and Hulk in the Agents of Smash, and Joe in Tales of the Walking Dead. At number 133, we have Ethan Hawke, who was Arthur Harrow in Moon Knight, and Batman in Batwheels. Yes, Ethan Hawke voices Batman in a show for 4-year-olds. Number 134, we have Lindsay Gort, who was Candy Morningstar in Lucifer, Amy Rohrbach in Titans, Maxine in Dead Boy Detectives, and Poolside Woman #1 in Marvel one-shot Agent Carter. At number 135, we have Brian T., who is the Shredder in TMNT Out of the Shadows, and Noboru Mori in The Wolverine. At number 136, we have Matt Damon, who was the Loki actor in Thor Ragnarok and Thor Love and Thunder, and Redneck #1 in Deadpool 2. Wow, they just love getting Matt Damon to just play random cameo roles. At number 137, we have Randall Park, who was Jimmy Woo in the MCU, and Steven Shin in both Aquaman movies. Number 138, we have Vin Diesel, who was Groot in the MCU, and Bloodshot in Bloodshot. At number 139, we have Adrienne Palicki, who was Wonder Woman in the Wonder Woman 2011 pilot, Kara in Smallville, Mockingbird in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and Nadia in the Aquaman 2006 pilot. At number 140, we have Vincent D'Onofrio, who was Kingpin in the MCU, and Edgar Bug in Men in Black. At number 141, we have Sasha Lane, who was Alice Monaghan in Hellboy 2019, Hunter C20 in Loki, and Ash Barton in the Marvel's Wastelanders Old Man Hawkeye podcast. Number 142, we have May Calamaway, who was Layla El Foley in Moon Knight, and Faweza in Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. At number 143, we have Terrible Person TJ Miller, who was Weasel in the first 2 Deadpool movies. They didn't bring him back for the 3rd one because he fucking sucks as a person, and him not being in it made the movie infinitely better, and he was Fred in Big Hero 6. Oh yeah, Big Hero 6 is a Marvel movie if you guys didn't know that. Number 144, we have Andy Samberg, who was Ben Reilly in Across the Spider-Verse, and I think he'll probably be back in Beyond the Spider-Verse, and Gary in The Boys Diabolical. Number 145, we have Jessica Alba, who was Invisible Woman in Fantastic Four 2005 and Rise of the Silver Surfer, and Nancy Callahan in both Sin City movies. At number 146, we have Jeffrey Cantor, who was Mitchell Ellison in Netflix's Daredevil and The Punisher, Agent Adams in The Tick 2016, and a technician in Men in Black 3. At number 147, we have Patrick Wilson, who was Night Owl in Watchmen 2009, Ocean Master in both Aquaman movies, the voice for the President of America in Batman vs. Superman, and himself in Teen Titans Go. Number 148, we have Brad Pitt, who was the Vanisher in Deadpool 2 and Billy in Two-Fisted Tales and Tales from the Crypt. At number 149, we have the late and great Christopher Reeve, who was Superman in all 4 original Superman movies, Virgil Swan in Smallville, and Ted in Tales from the Crypt. Number 150, we have John Glover, who was the Riddler in Batman the Animated Series, Jason Woodrue in Batman and Robin, Lionel Luthor in Smallville, Mr. Savannah in Shazam, New York Times reporter in Agent Carter, Peter Peterson in Lucifer, Teddy Maddox in Fear of the Walking Dead, and Sebastian Esbrook in Tales from the Crypt. Number 151, we have Ben Foster, who was Spectre Dave in Punisher 2004, Angel in X-Men The Last Stand, and The Stranger in 30 Days of Night. At 152, we have Jason Schwartzman, who was the Spot in Across the Spider-Verse and the upcoming Beyond the Spider-Verse, and Gideon Graves in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. Number 153, we have Bodhi Sambogu, who was Amon Tomaz in Black Adam, and young Behrad Tarazi in Legends of Tomorrow. Fun fact, the character Behrad Tarazi was actually based on the character Amon Tomaz, but uses a different name for some reason, which it's funny. He technically played 2 different versions of the same character. Number 154, we have Zachary Levi, who was Shazam in both Shazam movies, and Fandral in Thor the Dark World and Thor Ragnarok. At number 155, we have Chris Pratt, who was Star-Lord in the MCU, Barry in Wanted, and Jake in the Batman 2004. 156, we have Kieran Culkin, who was Wallace Wells in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World and Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, and Oswald Danica in The Boys Diabolical. At number 157, we have John Cryer, who was Lex Luthor in the CW Arrowverse, Lenny Luthor in Superman 4, and Felix Faust in Justice League Action. Number 158, we have Sandra Oh, who was Debbie Grayson in Invincible, and The Prophet in The Sandman. Number 159, we have John Leguizamo, who was the Violator in Spawn 1997, Javier in Kick-Ass 2, and Riddler in Batman The Audio Adventures. At 160, we have Lance Alonso, who was Mother's Milk in The Boys and a morgue security guard in Constantine 2005. At 161, we have Bill Skarsgård, who was Zeitgeist in Deadpool 2, Crow in Eternals, and The Crow in The Crow 2024. 162, we have John Malkovich, who was Quentin Turnbull in Jonah Hex, Marvin Boggs in both Red movies, and the Red Ghost in the upcoming Fantastic Four First Steps. At 163, we have Jackie Earl Haley, who was Rorschach in Watchmen 2009, Norm Briggs in Shazam 1974, Guerrero in Human Target 2010, Odin Quincannon in Creature, and The Terror in The Tick 2016. At 164, we have Tyler Mane, who was Sabretooth in X-Men 2000 and Deadpool and Wolverine, Black Star in Jupiter's Legacy, and Torminox in Doom Patrol. 165, we have Michael Caine, who was Alfred in the Dark Knight trilogy, and Arthur in Kingsman: The Secret Service. 166, we have Michael J. White, who was Spawn in Spawn 1997, Gambol in The Dark Knight, Doomsday in Justice League Unlimited, Osebo in Static Shock, the Bronze Tiger in Arrow and Batman Soul of the Dragon, Blade in Midnight Suns, Jon Stewart in Justice League Heroes, Tattooed Man in Batman the Brave and the Bold, and Audience Man in TMNT 2 The Secret of the Ooze. Number 167, Thomas Jane was Punisher in The Punisher 2004 and Dirty Laundry, Jonah Hex in DC Showcase Jonah Hex, and a vegan police officer in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. 164, we have Bryan Cranston as Heisenberg, who was James Gordon in Batman Year One, and Philip Moses in The Flash 1990. At 160, we have Jeep Swanson, who was Bane in Batman and Robin, and Masked Dorian in The Mask. 170, we have Liev Schreiber, who was Sabretooth in X-Men Origins Wolverine, and the voice of Kingpin in Into the Spider-Verse. 171, we have Riz Ahmed, who was Carlton Drake in Venom, and the Corinthian in Sandman 2020. 172, we have Melinda Clarke, who was Jessica Priest in Spawn 1997, and Grace Vandal in Gotham. 173, we have Joaquin Cosio, who was Scorpion in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and Mateo Suarez in The Suicide Squad. 174, we have Will Trevall, who was Nuke in Jessica Jones, and the Human Target in Arrow. Number 175, C. Thomas Howell was Reverse Flash in The Flashpoint Paradox, Suicide Squad Hell to Pay, and Lego DC Supervillains. Carson Wolfe in Netflix's The Punisher, Jack's father in The Amazing Spider-Man, Captain Cold in Injustice 2, and Roy in The Walking Dead. 176, Ben McKenzie was James Gordon in Gotham, and Batman in Batman Year One, another actor who has played both Jim Gordon and has voiced Batman. 177, we have Ewan McGregor, who is Black Mask in Birds of Prey and Ford in Tales from the Crypt. 178, we have James Carpinello, who is Bobby and John Saint in The Punisher 2004, Maria Calvi in Gotham, and Max in The Gifted. 179, Paul Rudd was Ant-Man in the MCU, and Mondo Gecko in TMNT Mutant Mayhem. 180, David W. Thompson was Scarecrow in Gotham, and Gecko in The Boys. Number 181, another big one, you have Michael Rosenbaum, who was Lex Luthor in Smallville, Wally West in the DCAU and Teen Titans 2003, Martin X in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 and 3, Ghoul in Batman Beyond Return of the Joker, Terminal in Batman Beyond, Wendell in Batman Beyond, Ollie in Batman Beyond, Carl in Batman Beyond, Agent West in The Seda Project and Batman Beyond, Smirk in Batman Beyond, Arcus Chumuk in Justice League the Animated Series, Deadshot in Justice League the Animated Series and Justice League Unlimited, Andre in Justice League the Animated Series, Colonel Joseph in Justice League the Animated Series, Franzi in Justice League the Animated Series, Trapper in Static Shock, Vigilante in Justice League Unlimited, Android Flash in Justice League Unlimited, Dr. Polaris in Justice League Unlimited, Deadman in Batman Brave and the Bold, Barry Allen in Justice League Doom, Infinite Crisis, and Lego DC Supervillains, Drift Leader in Justice League Throne of Atlantis, Scarecrow in Nightwing and Robin, Johnny Charisma in Batman Arkham Knight, and Seth in Batman Death in the Family. Number 182, we have rapper Common, who was Monster T in Suicide Squad, Gunsmith in Wanted, Gary Silvers in The Kitchen, and Bromell in Wanted Weapons of Fate. 183, we have Coolio, rest in peace, who was a banker in Batman and Robin, Replicon in Static Shock, and Dante Jackson in the director's cut for Daredevil 2003. 184, we have Hugo Weaving, who was Red Skull in Captain America the First Avenger, and V in V for Vendetta. 185, Damien Poitier, who was Thanos in the post-credit scene of Avengers 2012, Hero Merc number 1 in Captain America Civil War, and Goldface in CW's The Flash. 186, we have William Sadler, who was President Matthew Ellis in the MCU, Simon Stagg in CW's The Flash, Niles Talbot in Tales from the Crypt, Mr. Rush in Two-Fisted Tales, the Grim Reaper in Tales from the Crypt, Rocker in Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight, and the Mummy in Tales from the Crypt Bordello of Blood. At 187, we have Parker Posey, who was Danica Talos in Blade Trinity, Kitty Kowalski in Superman Returns, Blair Crawford in Tales of the Walking Dead, and Kat Swan in Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. Number 188, Graham McTavish was Atlan in Aquaman, Saint of Killers in Preacher, Father Kinley in Lucifer, Loki in Hulk vs. and Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, Sebastian Shaw in Wolverine and the X-Men, Savanti Romero in TMNT 2012, Johnny Blaze in Midnight Suns and Doctor Doom in Midnight Suns, and Silas Hedgepath in The Sixth Gun 2013. Number 189, Melissa McCarthy was the actor Hela in Thor Love and Thunder and Kathy Brennan in The Kitchen. Number 190, we have the legendary Keith David, who's Black Panther in Fantastic Four the Animated Series 1994, Spawn in Spawn the Animated Series, Dr. Egbert Flegel in Tales from the Crypt, Agent Mooslet in Superman the Animated Series, Despero in Justice League the Animated Series, Atlas in Teen Titans 2003, The Center in Justice League The New Frontier, Tombstone in The Spectacular Spider-Man, Mongol in Young Justice, Nick Fury in The Marvel Experience, Sal Commander in TMNT 2012, T'Chaka in Avengers Assemble, Solivar in CW's The Flash, Tobias Whale in Catwoman Hunted, Morax in Catwoman Hunted, Dog L in DC League of Super Pets, Mr. Bones in Stargirl, Kingpin in Marvel's Wastelanders Doom podcast, The Devil in Hitmonkey, and Darkseid in Kite Man Hell Yeah. Number 191, we have Doug Jones, who's Abe Sapien in Hellboy 1 and 2 and in Hellboy Animated. He was the body actor for Silver Surfer in Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer, a thin clown in Batman Returns, a contortionist in Tales from the Crypt, and Joey in Men in Black 2. 192, Benicio del Toro was the Collector in the MCU, Jackie Boy in Sin City, and Bill in Tales from the Crypt. Number 193, Jason Fleming was Azazel in X-Men First Class, a lobby goon in Kick-Ass, James Harwood in Pennyworth, Henry Jekyll and Edward Hyde in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, and Netley in From Hell. Number 194, Jennifer Carpenter was Selena Kyle in Batman Gotham by Gaslight, and she was the English dub for Black Widow in Avengers Confidential, Black Widow, and Punisher. 195, Jermaine Clement was Boris the Animal in Men in Black 3, Oliver Bird in Legion, Aquaman in DC League of the Super Pets, and Sauron in the Lego Batman movie. 196, Pete Davidson was Blackguard in the Suicide Squad and Fleck Tick in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. 197, we have the legendary Danny DeVito, who was Penguin in Batman Returns and an alien on the TV monitor in Men in Black. 198, Dana Gurira is Okoye in the MCU and Michonne Grimes in The Walking Dead and The Walking Dead: The Ones Who Lived. Number 199, we have Ken Long, who is Quill in X-Men The Last Stand, Karnak in Inhumans, and Dr. Victor Liu in Joker 2. At the big number 200, we have a very legendary voice actor who's been in a lot of stuff. This is going to be very long. Bill Lamar. He's known for playing Jon Stewart. He voiced him in DCAU, Superman Red Son, Teen Titans Go, and DC Superhero Girls Mayhem in the Multiverse, and the Injustice games. Static in Static Shock, Shiz in the Zeta Project, Ed Reese in Justice League the Animated Series, Dr. Matt Mac in Static Shock, Mr. McGill in Static Shock, Dion in Static Shock, Oboro in Static Shock, Tracy McGrady in Static Shock, Steel in Justice League Unlimited, Stripe in Justice League Unlimited, Justice Lord John Stewart and Android John Stewart in Justice League the Animated Series and Justice League Unlimited, Dr. Anderson in Justice League Unlimited, Machisti in Justice League Unlimited, Bashari in Justice League Unlimited, Angleman in Justice League Unlimited, Splinter in a TMNT short from 2001, a train passenger in Spider-Man 2, Maxie Zeus in the Batman 2004, Black Panther in Marvel Ultimate Alliance, The Watcher in Marvel Ultimate Alliance, Bolivar Trask in Wolverine and the X-Men, Gambit in Wolverine and the X-Men, Marvel Superhero Squad Online, and X-Men Destiny, Randy Robertson in The Spectacular Spider-Man, Robbie Robertson in The Spectacular Spider-Man, Fancy Dan in The Spectacular Spider-Man, Captain Jamaica in the Superhero Squad show, Tishon in the 2010 Black Panther motion comic, Rick in Batman Under the Red Hood, Bulk in Batman Under the Red Hood, Cyborg in DC Super Friends, Gorilla Grodd in DC Super Friends The Joker's Playhouse, Rome Boyer in Generator Rex, Green Goblin in Marvel Superhero Squad Online, Luke Cage in Marvel Superhero Squad Online, Nick Fury in Marvel Superhero Squad Online, Heimdall in Thor God of Thunder video game, Forge in X-Men Destiny, Wonder Man in Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, Jarvis in Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes and Ultimate Spider-Man, Child Kang in Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, Hulkbuster Soldier in Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, Aquaman in Injustice and Young Justice, Baxter Stockman in TMNT 2012, Dormammu in Hulk and the Agents of Smash, Ultimate Spider-Man, and etc. Man-Bat in Batman Unlimited, some voices in LEGO Marvel Superheroes, Brainiac in LEGO Justice League Cosmic Clash, Ryan Goldberg in Lucifer, Cloak in Ultimate Spider-Man, Walter Cage in Ultimate Spider-Man, Killer Moth in DC Superhero Girls and LEGO DC Superhero Girls, Doc Magnus in DC Superhero Girls, Lucius Fox in Injustice 2, DC Superhero Girls, and Harley Quinn, Firestorm in LEGO The Flash, Baron Mordo in Avengers Assemble, Bashanga in Avengers Assemble, Nuke in Avengers Assemble, Dr. Spectrum in Avengers Assemble, Slide in Marvel Spider-Man 2017, Salerno in Marvel Spider-Man 2017, Malefic in CW's Supergirl, Ron Thorpe in Superman Red Sun, Ragdoll in CW's The Flash, Jupiter Jim in Rise of the TMNT, Zitara in DC Superhero Girls, Flash in DC Superhero Girls, Hawkman in DC Superhero Girls, Ubu in DC Superhero Girls, Gem Jax in Young Justice, Metron in Young Justice, Vorkill in Young Justice, Calvin Durham in Young Justice, Bars in Young Justice, Dabney Donovan in Young Justice, Manta Trooper in Young Justice, Elron in Young Justice, Salamander in Invincible, Sidekick in Invincible, Luke in Invincible, Comic Book Narrator in Watchmen Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, Bernie in Watchmen Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, Security Guard in Watchmen Chapter 1, Sod in Kite Man Hell Yeah, Martian Manhunter in Kite Man Hell Yeah, Black Manta in Kite Man Hell Yeah and Harley Quinn, Detective Chimp in Kite Man Hell Yeah, Coco in Paraxis in Harley Quinn. Bill Lamar, you absolute mad lad. This is way too much for this, like, complying with this all together and reading them all, which is so insane. He took up like 3 pages, bro, just listing all the characters he's played. The crazy thing about this, I'm pretty sure this isn't even all of them. Like, he's voiced a lot of just random background roles in a bunch of other, like, superhero cartoons. I'm not gonna name any of them because that would be too long. Just saying it's not all of them, but like, I tried to keep it to named characters. And wow, that's just insane. What an absolute legend for voicing all these people. And I'm pretty sure by the time I finish editing this video, he probably voiced like Glub Shido in some new animated thing or whatever. Number 201, Peter Dinklage, who is Bolivar Trask in X-Men Days of Future Past, and E-Tree in Avengers Infinity War. At number 202, we have Josh Stewart, who is Bartholomew in The Dark Knight Rises, John Pilgrim in Netflix's The Punisher, and Chase in the Walking Dead webisodes Cold Storage. At number 203, we have Jada Pinkett Smith, who was Fish, Moon Clooney in Gotham, Party Guest in Men in Black 3, and Jerry Line in Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight. Number 204, we have Kobe Smulders, who was Maria Hill in the MCU, Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, and Lego Marvel Avengers, Shannon Bell in Smallville, and Dex Perios in Stumptown. Number 205, we have Tatiana Maslany with She-Hulk and She-Hulk Attorney at Law, Talia in Invincible, Aquaria in Invincible, Queen Lizard in Invincible Adam Eve, and For a Woman in Invincible. At number 206, we have Joan Chen, who is Ilsa Hayden in Judge Dredd, and Connie in Tales from the Crypt. Number 207, we have Alan Cumming, who is Nightcrawler in X2 and will return in Avengers Doomsday, and was Loki, no, not in a Marvel thing, in Son of the Mask. Number 208, we have Jesse T. Usher, who is A-Train in The Boys, and Davon in Tales of the Walking Dead. 209, we have Brian Cox, who is William Stryker in X2, Earl Garver in Superman the Animated Series, Augustus in Sandman 2020, and Ivan Simonov in both Red movies. Number 210, Valerie Curry was Firecracker in The Boys and Dot Everest in The Tick 2016. 211, Indira Varma is the bride in Creature Commandos, and Ilsa Pucci in Human Target 2010. 212, Walton Goggins, the voice of Cecil Stedman in Invincible, Sonny Birch in Ant-Man and the Wasp, and Stan Roberts in The Crow's Salvation. Number 213, Jessica Walter was Gloria Marquez in Wonder Woman 1977, Morgan Le Fay in Doctor Strange 1978, Granny Goodness in Harley Quinn, Wendy in Harley Quinn, and Athena in Justice League Action. At number 214, we have Dominic Purcell, who is Heatwave in the Arrowverse and a weird version of Dracula in Blade Trinity. At 215, we have a legendary actor, the late and great Kevin Conroy. Rest in peace. He is the GOAT. We all know he's voiced Batman in the DCAU, Arkhamverse, and etc. He's voiced Batman in a lot of stuff. He was Thomas Wayne in the DCAU, Batman vs. Robin, and the Arkhamverse. Andre in Batman the Animated Series, Joe Chill in Justice League Unlimited, Etrigan in Justice League Unlimited, Duplicant Batman in Batman the Animated Series, Justice Lord Batman in Justice League the Animated Series, Musical Batman in Batman Beyond, John Grayson in the Batman 2004, Phantom Stranger in Batman the Brave and the Bold, Batman of Zur-En-Arrh in Batman the Brave and the Bold, Hush in Arkham City and Arkham Knight, Police Scanner in Green Arrow 2014, and Zeus in Shazam 2014. What a legend. Rest in peace. I love this man so much. Number 216, we have Daniel Kaluuya, who is Spider-Punk in Across the Spider-Verse, and I believe he will return in Beyond the Spider-Verse. Wakabi in Black Panther, and Black Death in Kick-Ass 2. At 217, we have famous cock Will Smith, who was Deadshot in Suicide Squad, and Agent J in the Men in Black trilogy. Number 218, Peter Sarsgaard was Gil Coulson in The Batman, and Hector Hammond in Green Lantern 2011. At number 219, we have Blake Lively, the wife of Ryan Reynolds, who was Carol Ferris in Green Lantern 2011, and the voice of Lady Deadpool in Deadpool and Wolverine. I think I'm supposed to acknowledge that a lot of people hate her. She's very controversial, and I think she's kind of problematic. Personally, I don't know much about the drama surrounding her, and I don't really care. She might not be a good person in real life, so yeah, I don't know. If someone wants to donate me like $100, I'll review the Blake Lively situation live on stream. Yeah, I'll fucking do that. Okay, the last one, we have another legend. Number 220, Josh Keaton was Spider-Man in Spectacular Spider-Man, Marvel vs. Capcom 3, etc. Green Lantern and Green Lantern the Animated Series, Lego Batman 3, etc. Young Michael Stromwell in Batman the Animated Series, Harry Osborn in the Spider-Man 2002 video game based on the movie, the Spider-Man 2 video game also based on the movie, and Spider-Man Friend or Foe, Cyclops in X-Men Legends 2, the Human Torch in Marvel Ultimate Alliance, Hermod in Marvel Ultimate Alliance, Flash in Justice League Crisis on Two Earths, DC Superhero Girls and Justice League Cosmic Chaos, Aquaman in Justice League Crisis on Two Earths and the Infinite Crisis video game, Captain Marvel in Marvel Heroes, Dick Grayson in Lego Batman 3, Arkham Origins and Arkham Shadow, Shazam in Lego Lego Batman 3, Kyle Rayner in Lego Batman 3, Ant-Man in Ant-Man 2017, Avengers Assemble, etc. Orion in Justice League Gods and Monsters, Speed in Lego Marvel Avengers, Rick Jones in Avengers Academy video game, Steve Trevor in DC Superhero Girls, Electro in Spider-Man PS4, Blue Beetle in Lego DC Supervillains, Green Goblin in Spider-Man 2017, and Lego Spider-Man Vexed by Venom, Terrence in Lego Shazam, Magic and Monsters, Iron Man in Iron Man VR, Midnight Suns, and Marvel Rivals, Jeffrey Burr in Batman Soul of the Dragon, Black Spider in Young Justice, Wilhelm Viddings in Young Justice, Skeets in Justice League Cosmic Chaos, Alex in Justice League Cosmic Chaos, Steve Rogers in What If and X-Men 97, Angelo in Moon Knight and Devil Dinosaur, Agent Spider in Invincible, Matthew in Batman Cape Crusader, Ray Fillet in TMNT Mutants Unleashed, Walker in Arkham Shadow, and Richard Parker in Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man.
Alright guys, so that was the video. That was 220 actors who have played multiple comic book roles. This video took a long time to make. Just editing this was so long. Having to add all those pictures, bro. I have like a folder full of just so many pictures that I added to this video. It's crazy. Hope you guys enjoyed. In this video I mentioned a lot of actors you might have already known, like a lot of well-known actors who played multiple roles, and I've also highlighted some lesser known actors, which, you know, I think that's good to give them a spotlight. Yeah, shout out again to the comic book actors wiki that made this video a whole lot easier. Even though I talked about 220 actors in this, there's probably a bunch I missed, so feel free to go in the comments and just say like all the actors that I just forgot about. Just yell at me, give me that engagement. Fuck it, just send me death threats. Hell yeah, I want to get sent death threats because I didn't include an actor. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys liked the video. Yeah, this is a long video, so if you sat through it, you're probably like listening to this in the background while you're like at the gym or like drawing or like playing video games or something. So yeah, okay, bye.